I offered to watch my sister's kids so she could go on her first vacation in years. I took them to the zoo, cooked every meal, cleaned up after them. The day she came back, she looked around my apartment and said, "Wow. You let them live like this?" Her husband handed me an envelope with $40 inside and said, "Don't spend it all in one place." I spent 2 weeks recovering from exhaustion. 3 days later, I got a call from Child Services. Someone had reported my apartment as unsafe. It was her. I'm not the type of person who likes drama. I keep to myself, work a quiet job at the city library, live in a clean 2-bedroom apartment in Kansas City, Missouri. I'm 42, single, no kids. I don't party, I don't go out much. I keep things simple. But somehow, the worst drama I've ever been part of came from my own family. My sister Katie is 5 years younger than me. She lives out in Lee's Summit, in one of those cookie-cutter neighborhoods where all the houses look like someone copy-pasted them. She has twin boys, Ben and Aiden, who just turned 7. Her husband Rick is the kind of guy who always has something smug to say, even when he should just shut up. Katie's been saying for years that she needed a vacation. Every time we saw each other, it came up. I haven't had a real break since the boys were born. Just 1 week without chaos, is that too much to ask? I always nodded, told her I understood. And I did. Raising kids is hard. I may not have any, but I can see it in her face every time we talk. So back in March, she called me and asked if I'd be willing to watch the twins while she and Rick went on a 10-day cruise. She sounded desperate. Said they'd found a last-minute deal leaving from Miami. Said it was their first chance in years. She was begging me. I didn't think twice. I said yes. I moved everything around to make it happen. I requested time off work. I bought groceries that kids would actually eat. I borrowed an air mattress from my neighbor since I only have one extra bed. I even got some little toys from a thrift store so they'd have something fun to do. When Katie dropped the boys off, she came in with 3 huge bags of clothes, 2 backpacks full of toys and snacks, and a stack of instructions so thick it could have been a book. She barely said goodbye to the kids. Just gave me a quick hug and said, "You're a lifesaver," before running out the door. That first day was a disaster. The boys fought over everything. The remote, the last piece of toast, even who got to sit on which side of the couch. By the time I got them to bed, I was already worn out. Every day was like that. I cooked 3 meals a day, plus snacks. I cleaned up after them nonstop. One of them knocked over a whole cup of juice on the carpet. Another time they tried to microwave a crayon. I had to call poison control when one of them ate half a bottle of Flintstone vitamins. He was fine. I took them to the zoo one day. Big mistake. It was hot, crowded, and they both had meltdowns when I wouldn't buy them matching $35 stuffed giraffes. I spent more than $100 that day on tickets, food, and parking. My bank account was already tight, but I didn't say anything. I didn't call or text Katie once. I figured she deserved the break. She trusted me. I could handle it. I didn't go out. I didn't rest. I didn't sleep well, either. One of the boys had nightmares almost every night and ended up sleeping on the couch with me. I had work emails piling up. My back hurt from the couch. I was taking Advil every morning just to get through the day. But I kept telling myself it was almost over. That I was doing something good. Then Katie and Rick showed up. She didn't hug the kids. She didn't say thank you. She just walked through my apartment slowly, like she was inspecting it. She looked at the pile of laundry I hadn't had time to wash. The toys still out from that morning. A few crumbs on the kitchen floor. She turned to me and said, "Wow. You let them live like this?" Not, "Thank you." Not, "How did it go?" Not even, "We missed them." Then Rick handed me an envelope and said, "Don't spend it all in one place." He laughed. Inside was $40. I stood there, holding it in my hand like it was an insult. Because it was. They left without another word. No hug. No thank you. No offer to repay the hundreds I spent on food, gas, zoo tickets, or cleaning supplies. Just walked out like they were doing me a favor by picking up their own kids. I was so tired I didn't even cry. I just sat down on the floor after they left and stared at the wall. It took me 2 full days just to feel like a human again. I slept for almost 14 hours the next night. I had to take a 3rd day off work just to get my apartment back in order. Then, 3 days later, I got a call from Child Protective Services. Someone had reported my apartment as unsafe for children. Said it was dirty, hazardous, unfit for overnight stays. I had to let a CPS agent into my home. They inspected everything. The woman was polite, but the look on her face told me she expected to find a crack house. Instead, she saw my modest little apartment, with clean sheets and a mostly empty fridge because I hadn't gone shopping yet. She asked if I knew who might have filed the report. I didn't answer. But I knew. Katie. She was the only person who'd been in my apartment recently. The only one who saw it. The only one who left angry. She didn't just disrespect me. She tried to ruin me. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I didn't even call her. But I started planning. Quietly. I was going to make sure she never asked me for help again. After the CPS visit, I sat on my couch, staring at the wall like I was watching it breathe. The room still smelled faintly like baby shampoo and peanut butter. I had done everything for those boys. And my sister thanked me by trying to humiliate me. I didn't want revenge, not at first. I just wanted space. But then, something snapped inside me the next morning when I got a text from her. No apology. Just, hey, did the boys leave their iPad chargers at your place? Can you check? That was it. Not, thanks for 10 days of hellish childcare. Not even a sorry about the mess. Just wanted to know if I could do one more thing for her. I didn't answer. I blocked her number. The next few weeks, I stayed quiet. No more family group chats. I unfollowed her on Facebook, Instagram, everything. But I watched. From a distance. And what I saw told me everything I needed to know. She was still talking. Spinning a story. I heard it from my cousin Jenna, who works with Katie's friend. Word was, Katie told people her kids came home traumatized, that my place was filthy, and that CPS got involved because she had to do the right thing. She was painting herself as some protective mother who had no choice. That's when I stopped wanting peace. I wanted justice. Katie's biggest secret wasn't about her kids or her marriage. It was about her money. She and Rick weren't as well off as they liked to pretend. That cruise? It was paid for with a credit card they couldn't afford. They were 3 months behind on their mortgage. Rick had been laid off 2 months before the trip, but they told everyone he was working remote. Katie's been trying to start an online boutique, but she barely breaks even. I knew all this because she told me during one of her wine-fueled vent sessions a year ago. I also knew she was getting unofficial help from her in-laws. Her mother-in-law was slipping her cash every month to cover school expenses. She didn't want anyone to know they were drowning. She hated looking weak. So I decided to make her look weak. First, I made an anonymous post in a local Facebook moms group under a new fake account. I shared my babysitting nightmare story without names, just details. 10 days of unpaid childcare. The $40 envelope. The CPS report. It blew up. Hundreds of comments. Moms were furious. Some even guessed who it was based on the cruise timeline. Then I emailed her HOA with an anonymous tip. Trash piling up in her backyard, suspicious vehicle, Rick's busted truck with expired tags, and a report that the grass hadn't been cut in weeks. Minor, yes, but her neighborhood is strict. Fines add up fast. Next, I mailed copies of 2 of her kids' school notes, one she'd forwarded to me months ago asking for advice, right back to the school, anonymously, with a sticky note that said, "Concerned family member. Please follow up." One of them mentioned Aiden's recent aggressive behavior and Ben's missed homework. I knew it would spark attention. None of it was illegal. None of it could be traced to me. But it added pressure. She had no idea where it was coming from. That's when she started texting me again, from a different number. "I know we haven't talked. I'm sorry if you were upset. I just think we both need to move on." No apology. Just more manipulation. I didn't answer. I had more to do. 2 weeks after her last message, I got a call from Jenna, my cousin. "Hey," she said, real slow. "You didn't hear this from me, but Katie's in deep." I stayed quiet. Let her talk. "She's been crying at work. Said someone's trying to ruin her. HOA hit her with 3 violations. School's requesting a parent-teacher conference. And apparently, Rick's truck got towed last night." I couldn't help it, I smiled. Just a little. Then Jenna said something that hit different. "Anne. She thinks it's Rick's ex. She's been blaming her for everything." That stopped me cold. Rick's ex-wife, Michelle, had a rough history with Katie. From what I'd heard, Michelle hated how quickly Rick moved on, how Katie stepped in and played mom to his first daughter. They'd fought a lot. But Michelle hadn't been in the picture for over a year. No contact, no drama. And now Katie thought she was the one coming after her? I didn't plan for that. But it gave me an idea. I created a new email. Sent Katie an anonymous message. Subject: "You messed with the wrong one." Body: "You thought you could treat people like garbage and not face consequences? Think again. You're not the only one who knows your secrets. Clean up your act, or next time, it won't be just a call to the HOA." I didn't sign it. 2 days later, Katie posted on Facebook for the first time in a while. A selfie with her boys. Long caption about resilience and not letting haters bring you down. She turned off the comments. But behind the scenes, her world was cracking. One night, Rick showed up at my apartment. Yeah. I didn't even know how he found my place. Probably remembered from picking the kids up. He banged on my door hard, like he was trying to break it. I opened it halfway. Stared at him through the gap. "What do you want?" He looked like hell. Red eyes. Greasy hair. Smelled like beer. "You need to stop," he said. "I don't know what the hell you're doing, but she's losing it. The boys are scared. Katie can't sleep. You made your point." I didn't say a word. He stared at me for a long second, then said something that told me I was winning. "She's gonna end up in the hospital if you keep this up." He turned and walked off before I could even respond. But I wasn't done. The next morning, I filed a small claim suit. $1,256.84. For groceries, missed workdays, zoo tickets, supplies, and the cost of carpet cleaning. I had receipts. I had screenshots. I had a printed log of everything I did. It wasn't about the money. It was about making her stand in front of a judge and own what she did to me. And that's when I found out something even worse, something I hadn't seen coming. Katie never told Rick she reported me to CPS. He thought I made it up. That's why he was so angry. That's why he came to my door. He believed I made up the story to get back at them. But now he was going to learn the truth. Because in court, I was going to say everything. The court date came fast. Small claims court isn't glamorous. No jury, no TV drama. Just a tight room with old chairs and a judge who looked like she hated her job. Katie showed up late. Rick walked in ahead of her, holding a thick folder. I sat on the bench across from them, calm, but my chest was tight. I wasn't nervous. I was angry. Quietly, deeply angry in a way that had been building for months. The judge asked me to explain why I filed the claim. I stood up, handed over my receipts and records. I spoke slow, clear, no drama, just the facts. I watched my sister's kids for 10 days. I cooked, cleaned, spent money out of pocket. I took time off work. I wasn't paid or even thanked. Then, 3 days after she picked them up, I was reported to Child Protective Services. The caller claimed my apartment was dangerous for children. That report triggered a visit from a CPS agent. I was investigated. I looked at the judge, then straight at Katie. She filed that report. She's the only one who had access to my home and motive to lie. I believe she did it to avoid guilt and shift blame after insulting me and paying me $40 for 10 days of full-time childcare. The judge asked for proof of the CPS visit. I had the paperwork. Then it was Katie's turn. She stood up, hands shaking. Your Honor, I didn't file that report. I never said anything about her apartment being dangerous. This whole thing has been blown out of proportion. She's just upset. That's when I did it. I pulled out the printed screenshot. The one I'd saved the day after she visited my apartment, the last message she sent me before I blocked her. Honestly, if you can't even keep your place decent for a couple kids, maybe you shouldn't be watching them at all. The judge read it, blinked, then looked at Katie. That's not a great look, ma'am. Katie sat down. Didn't say another word. Rick looked at her like he was seeing her for the first time. Wait, he said out loud. You did report her? Katie stared at the table. You dragged me over to her place, yelling at her, acting like she made it up, and you actually did it? His voice was rising. You made me look like an idiot. The judge banged the gavel. Sir, this isn't a domestic dispute hearing. Katie tried to whisper something to him, but he stood up and walked out of the room. He left her there. In the end, the judge ruled in my favor. She said Katie had shown clear disregard for fair compensation and questionable judgment regarding the CPS report. She ordered Katie to pay the full $1,256.84, plus $90 in court fees. But it wasn't about the money. The money was a receipt. The kind you shove in someone's face when they try to rewrite history. 2 weeks later, Katie mailed me a check. No note. No apology. I cashed it. A few days after that, I got a call from Jenna again. You hear the news? She said. I hadn't. Rick moved out. Said he needed space. Took the boys for the weekend and didn't bring them back. Katie had a meltdown in front of the neighbors. Police were called, but no one was arrested. She'd apparently been lying to a lot of people about a lot of things. Jenna said Katie was on a break from her job, maybe not by choice. Said her mother-in-law had pulled the financial help. Said Katie's boutique shut down because of too many chargebacks and angry customers. I didn't celebrate. I just sat on my couch, drank my coffee, and thought about everything that had happened. I'd burned a bridge. Maybe more than one. I lost a sister, or at least the idea of her. But I gained something else. I got my peace back. Sometimes, the only way to shut a door is to slam it so hard, nobody tries to open it again. And that's exactly what I did.